Okay, so guys, I have a story. It's a personal experience, and it's up to you whether you choose to believe it or not. I am not even sure I believe it fully, but it has been gnawing at me since it happened, so here goes nothing. Let's start with a bit of background info on me first. I'm a marine biologist and have been for the past 3 years since I graduated university with a master's degree. I got a job with a research group in northern Canada, studying Arctic and subarctic shark species around the Canadian shore, specializing in the Greenland shark. Last November, me and a group of about 15 colleagues of mine volunteered to travel to Baffin Island, following some tagged Greenland sharks to monitor their populations and migratory habits. Since there was very bad weather scheduled for December, we only had a few weeks to get up there, get a few dives in, and leave, so we were fairly strapped for time. It is damn near impossible to get there over land, so we took a boat out, with a few tents aboard, our sonar and diving equipment. One of the others was piloting it. I was responsible for the sonar setup, and I would be doing some diving when we got into position. We had planned to stick to the northwest coast of the island, in the fjords and the coastal waters. But by the time we got there, the tags were showing that the majority of the sharks had moved east, towards Baffin Bay. We stayed at our first location for a day, got a few dives in, and brought in a good-sized female Greenland, but she was the only catch we got, and I wasn't picking up anything bigger than that. So after making a note of the position of the catch, we made our way towards the bay. We'd been itching to get out there since we'd seen the data from the tag trackers. We were excited because we knew that the Greenland was pretty poorly studied, and any new insight on its behavior would be very big news. What we were really interested in was how they acted in deep water. Now, Baffin Bay has a large section of water in the abyssopelagic zone, about 2,000 meters deep. We knew Greenlands were sleeper sharks, so they were pretty adamant on trying to prove they fed at depth, since nobody is sure what they predate or how they capture it. If they dive for food, it could be proof of scavenging. Anyway, our seniors would not take us out into the bay at first. We stuck by the east coast of Baffin, along the pack ice. Diving was an issue, but we got a few of our tag specimens in. We spent a week total moving down the coast, about 3 separate locations. After we'd gone as far south as we were willing to, the suggestions of me and a few others had gotten to the seniors, and they finally took us out into the bay, over the Baffin Hollow. Of course, we could not dive that deep, but we could see if we could hook any specimens at depth. On our way out, I kept the sonar on for any sign of sharks. They had a pretty recognizable signature, elongated and larger than most things out there. But as we got over the hollow, I started picking up some weird signatures, big signatures. It would always just be a flash whilst we went past. I did show a few others, but they threw it off as rock formations along the bed. It was pretty common. For lack of a better explanation, I decided to agree, since it wasn't whale season, and I could not think of anything else being that big down there. Moving on, we could only stay out there for a couple of days at a time, and not all of our crew could be on the boat, since it did not have accommodation for all of them, so we were basically down to a skeleton crew. I was classed as essential, since I ran the sonar, so I was out on every single trip. On our third venture out there, it was my turn to make a dive. We'd hooked a couple of sharks, but they were not tagged, and they were at fairly shallow depths, so nothing groundbreaking. It was me, my diving partner, then another pair who went down that day. Things started out okay, but looking back, my alarm bell should have been ringing. We'd taken roughly the same route back and forth from the position, and my sonar readings were different every time. We did not get the anomalies we got on the first day on any following trips. They were always slightly different. Obviously, it would be officially negligible, but it's something that stuck in my head after what I saw down there. Me and my partner had decided to go to our maximum cutoff depth at about 40 meters. I remember looking down over the hollow and just seeing a deep blue abyss. It is really fucking surreal, like standing at your door and looking at another world. Imagine it, clear blue waters all around you, then just a gaping dark maw below. Visibility was pretty good, since there wasn't any sediment to impede us. Unfortunately, There was not a single trace of life here. On previous dives, we always had some type of fish or even shark just swimming within view, but not today. I had no way of contacting the other diving group, but I could just barely see them, about 10 meters up and 100 meters behind us. My diving partner set about rising to get some decent footage of the scenery. I was meant to be laying some hooks. The job took us about 20 minutes in total, and we were pretty strapped for time because of oxygen. I'd spent the majority of the time looking down, and just before I got a tug on my safety line to pull me up, I saw it. A colossal white shape. It was like a white silhouette. I was almost certain it had a glow to it because it must have been a good 500 meters deeper than me, and it still looked massive. It was moving slowly, then it just dipped out of view, like the depths swallowed it back up. I was not sure what I had seen, and I was pretty dizzy from looking down the whole time, but after that, I made my way back to the boat and gave my reports. We went back to the shore that evening. We would return the next day to check the lines. When we came back the next day, I was not able to dive, but I helped haul the catches back in. What was fucking terrifying though, was when we pulled in half the carcass of a 20-foot Greenland shark. The seniors were baffled, and chatter started going around the rest of the crew. About 8 of us were on board at that time. Eventually, the conclusion that the Greenland were cannibalistic and that they had taken the opportunity to eat the shark that was hooked was what we came up with. They usually survive for a long time once hooked. They can still move around, and their metabolisms make sure that they do not starve. But what was odd was that the carcass was cleanly cut. There were no obvious signs of tearing. I mean, Greenlands can only open their mouths so wide, and their teeth are small, made for tearing bite-sized chunks off. They are the largest species in this habitat, and none of us could think of what the fuck else could have done it. The white silhouette came to mind, and I suddenly started doubting what I thought I knew about ocean habitats. I never bought into stories about huge creatures living in the abyss. The logistics just were not in their favor. But I recalled that this was a whale migration path, and the hollow could literally be a trapdoor for whatever that glow came from. I was reluctant to mention it, so I briefly asked the hook layer from the other diving team if he'd seen anything strange on the dive. I am still pretty chilled by her answer. She said she had seen the white glow too. It started deep, and she said it came within a few 100 meters. She did not see any details, and she thought it was just a trick of the light. But after what I'd seen, I was not so sure. Now, I am sorry that the story was not longer, but that was my story. I still don't know what the thing was, but I know that after that dead shark, we got absolutely no more captures in the areas, not even along the coast, and 5 tags were still unfound. I have not been back to the area, and I don't think I want to. I never told anybody else, and I have not done any field work outside of Saguenay Fjord. It was elongated, and it was definitely wider at one end, so I'm guessing it had pectoral fins of some description. But from the distance it was, and the size it appeared to be, it was definitely larger than any whale I had ever seen, especially any diving whale living in that area. And it did not seem to have a fluke. It was as if the tail end just ended in a rounded nub, like the tail was pointing downwards. Well, logic and study dictates I say it was a whale, but believe me, it was huge, and no whale I know of is bioluminescent. The closest thing I could place it at would be a beluga 6 times the size of an average specimen. In my experience, I have never come across any animal that large in that habitat, or one that could feast on large predatory sharks whose flesh is considered toxic. I don't suspect a mammal of that size could sustain itself in the hollow for that long without surfacing. Plus, if the sonar readings I got were correct, what I saw might not have even been all of it. I could, if I would, but as I said, we monitor shark populations. It's going to be impossible for me to acquire deep-sea apparatus, and even then, we would need permissions for the dive. I'm afraid that I can't get that kind of setup with no evidence but some iffy sonar readings and 2 blurred sightings of a white silhouette. Okay, you forget the fact that you said the shark was cut cleanly in half. This would probably be evidence enough to investigate a new species, if nothing known in the area could do that. If you are not able to go back, okay, tell someone who is. Yes, but the senior researcher was pretty set on the explanation of cannibalism in the species. It is known behavior. I was unsure because the wound was clean, and Greenland sharks do not have a large bite radius. It would be my word against his, unfortunately, and it was nigh on a year ago. Isn't it a common thing that such a massive amount of small fish can look like one big one in such distances underwater? It's a plausible explanation, but I don't think it applies here. The shape of the image did not shift, as it would if it was just the reflective side of a fish shoal. Plus, the color was white. I wasn't even sure if it was glowing, from the top down. Fish are usually camouflaged quite well to prevent being eaten by pelagic predators. Again, okay. Is it possible it could have been something related to a jellyfish? Although, I don't believe jellyfish would have jaws, let alone ones that cleanly cut flesh. Could be a type of fish or amphibious creature. I seriously doubt any kind of mammal. Reptile would be easier to believe than mammal for me, but I doubt that too. Did it have any other specific features that you could make out? From what I saw, it did not. It was a dull white shape with a pale glow, but it was huge. You have to understand that it was far away from me and enveloped in darkness. Be me, 17 years old at the time, planning a bonfire with some friends and some friends' friends. Bonfire is set up in the middle of an apartment complex. It's like a brick fire barbecue thing. Start the fire when the sun goes down. Cop who lives nearby comes and tells us to go home because we're making too much noise. Fuck it. Last week of summer. We are going to have this fucking bonfire. Move it to the woods. Familiar place. I've been there before. Good times begin. Friend Z is pretty drunk. Anon, I need to piss. Come watch my back. What? Come on. Didn't really think, but kind of wanted to get away from the crowd for a bit. Social anxiety and shit. You know what's up. Friend leads me out pretty far, towards a creek. Takes like 5 fucking minutes to piss. Returns to fire pit. Everyone is gone. I can hear someone running a distance away. I yell out hello. The running stops. Nope. Managed to make our way out of the woods. Get a call from friend Das, right as we started coming out of the woods. Did you guys make it out okay? He sounds kind of scared. I say, yeah. Why didn't you tell us you guys were leaving? Apparently, there was some crazy half-naked dude roaming the woods that tried to drink all of their beer, and when he pulled a knife on them, they all bolted. It was just scary as fuck knowing that we were alone out there with him lurking in the woods. Never go back to those woods at night, ever again. The events in this next story took place a little bit before the crazy beer dude. Be 15 years old maybe. Be obnoxious adolescent stoner. Smoking a bowl in the woods with friends Z and S and GFA. At different places before, but same friends. Huh, dude, look how high I am. I was actually pretty high to be fair. See a guy with a golf club in a small clearing behind us. Looks like he's looking for something. GF says her sister knows him or something. Sketched out the whole day. Could have been the weed, but something definitely was not right about this dude. News report comes on the next day. It says a dude went missing. Last seen near the apartment complex that we were at that day. Asked GF to turn on the news. It was the golf club guy. A couple days later, his body was found about a half mile in woods from where we were. He had been beaten to death with a golf club. What? They never found the guy who did it. Was it the crazy beer dude? I guess I will never know. My face went. I still live about a quarter mile away from those woods, and the last one I have of those woods is this story. Be about 2 years ago. Be 19 years old. Friend B and I are building a little shack in the woods, a fair bits away from where that murder happened, but still connected. Cutting down trees and shit, and putting up tarps and shit, and digging holes and shit. After about a month, it is finally done. Only go there for campfires, and since B still lives with his folks, all his friends and him always go there to drink or smoke weed, or whatever teens are doing these days. Get a call from B one day. You aren't going to fucking believe this. Apparently, He was porking his girl in the little shack we made, and when a crazy dude with a knife tried to assault his girlfriend, B, being a certified badass, quickly got his knife from his pants and stabbed him. Cops do their job. He lives. Gets sent to prison sometime later. We all come to the conclusion that it was crazy beer dude. B ends up moving in with me. Every last week of summer break from school/college, we go out to the pit and toast one off to crazy beer dude. Some nights we can still hear him, howling in the wind, brandishing his knife, and sipping on that oh-so-flavorful Heineken. Hey, hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you want to hear more, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment because it lets YouTube know you like the content and helps more people to see these videos. My next big goal for the channel is 100,000 subscribers, and as a celebration, I will be doing a Q&A video once we hit that goal. Thank you, and back to the stories. Be 11-year-old me staying at my best friend's place for a sleepover. We live on the same street, so there's usually no reason to stay over, but we do it anyways for fun. Parents gone, babysitter watching us. Friend has a room with 2 twin beds and a shared bathroom between his room and his brother's room on the opposite end of the bathroom. I think this is called a Jack and Jill setup or some other shit in architect circles. Friend's brother is not home, just me, my friend, and the babysitter. Sleep in twin bed. Have full view of bathroom with a huge, wall-encompassing mirror. Pass the fuck out. Bolt the fuck awake. Not rub your eyes take time to wake up awake. I mean dead asleep to fucking alert as shit in the span of a millisecond. Stare up at the ceiling for a few minutes. Wondering why the fuck I'm up. Feels like something is in there with us. Look over. Friend is fast asleep. Look into the bathroom. Weird fucking greenish gray light floating around. It did not look like a candlelight. His side of the Jack and Jill bathroom door slowly shuts. Fuck. Stare at the ceiling for what feels like an hour. Start fading back to sleep. Hear the classic creak sound, like it was out of a fucking horror movie. Look at door. It's wide open. The light is back. Light goes over to the other side of the bathroom. Disappears. Then the other door slowly opens. Fuck this shit. Both doors shut at the same time. Nope. I run out of the house without even waking up my buddy or the babysitter and go straight back to my house. I have some other stories pertaining to my house and my neighborhood track. It was built near Native American lands and has some classic Old West lore attached to it. Shit is fucked. I still can't take a shit in that bathroom to this day. Be 14-year-old me sleeping away. I wake up in the middle of the night to take a piss and get some midnight water. No one is awake. I lay down in bed, trying to go back to bed. I am a restless sleeper, so it takes some time to get back to bed. I feel something sit down on the bed next to me. I turn around, expecting my little brother or someone else to be there. No one is there, but there is a fucking depression on the bed, as though someone had sat in it. Turn my nightstand light on. No one is there. Shit is freaky. It's just your imagination, Anon. Go back to bed, you pussy. Fall asleep. Bolt awake again, similar to what happened at my buddy's house. There is a fucking floating mass of darkness just hanging over me. The best way I could describe it would be like light eating ink, just sucking all light around it and forming into some fucking weird mass. No eyes, but even darker pits, which looked like some sick perversion of eye sockets. I am covered the fuck up in my warm-ass down comforter in the middle of July in SoCal, but I am cold as fuck. Hear a low sigh, like something taking its last breath. The black mass rushes past me up through my ceiling and is gone. Paralyzed by fear, I finally work up the courage to turn the nightstand light on. Don't sleep for the next 2 days. I did not tell this story to anyone in my immediate family for years because it was so fucking freaky and I did not want to relive it. I finally told this to my mom. She freaked the fuck out and told me that when the house was being built, we were the first owners. It was a new track. They had a lot of problems with vandalism. She came to inspect the build site one day and found a bunch of pentagrams and other ceremonial shit right where my room is. She had the pentagrams and other shit painted over when we moved in. She never told me because she did not want to freak me out. I have other stories too. My house is fucking crazy. I've come back from more noob storytelling. Sorry for the delay. Be 11-year-old me, hanging out downstairs, watching a movie or something. Have a black Labrador, loyal and loving dog, never bit anyone or anything, not even little love bites or whatever. Movie is playing, me and my family zoning out. Dog starts to freak the fuck out, barking and snarling like crazy, looking up above our den. My parents' room was directly above the den area. All of us are like, what the fuck is this guy's deal? Dog continues this for about 15 minutes. His hair is standing on edge, and he is foaming at the mouth. The dog finally calms down, and is just staring up at the ceiling. His eyes are following something, but there is nothing on the ceiling. We decide to go check upstairs. Try to get the dog to come up. Dog resists with all of his might. I try to pull on his collar to get him to go up the stairs. The fucker bites me. He never bit me before, and never bit me ever again after that night. The dog starts crying, tail between legs, shaking. He is scared as shit. Go upstairs. Nothing up there. Nope. That dog never ever slept in my parents' room again. He used to sleep there every night before then. After that night, he could not stay in my parents' room for more than a few minutes. After the dog incident, we began to routinely hear loud footsteps coming from my parents' room, even when no one was home. This happens to this day and will happen throughout the day. Morning, day, night, it does not matter. We have heard it at all times in all environments. Often more than one person will hear the same thing at the same time. I've had my wife, my friends, my family's friends, even contractors hear the footsteps. These are loud fucking footsteps too, like someone is stomping the shit out of the floor. A lot of weird shit happened at the place I used to work at. Anyone interested? Okay, here goes. 3 years ago, I was working at a local grocery store. Pretty normal place, though there was a story of an employee who died there after slipping and cracking his skull on the cement freezer floor. I worked the produce section, which means I stack and cut the fruit to be sold to customers. I asked to work specifically night shifts, simply because I work better at night and can spend more time with my GF. Usually run these shifts with a dude who I will refer to as F. One night, F and I are in the chop room preparing some corn for tomorrow. Talking while I cut, and he prepares by packaging them. I slice my finger and leave the room momentarily to go and get a band-aid. The med office is about a 10 or so minute walk from produce. It is a very large story, and this was upstairs. Come back, and F asked what I was doing 5 minutes ago. Dude, I was going upstairs to get a band-aid and shit for my finger. No you weren't, man. You were banging on the door asking if you could come in. What? Just drop it, I guess. Let's get this corn done. You guys want more? And no, I did not pre-write. Yeah, I still get chills every time I think of that moment. Here is another story. Working another night shift. Oh boy, time to take out the garbage. Go back to the room where we have the box compactor, the trash compactor, and multiple freezers. Freezers are made so that an alarm sounds whenever you open the door without pulling the lever correctly. Swipe to right, push the door equals no alarm. Any other way equals alarm goes off. Go to back room with a cart full of trash to get rid of. Fill compactor full of trash, but only remove half of it from the cart. While I wait for it to compact, I text my GF and such. Texting for a few minutes as the machine does its work, when suddenly, every fucking freezer alarm in the back room goes off. There are at least 10 freezers in that room. Nearly shit my pants and scream out of fear. Go and look at the levers. They have all been pulled in all different ways, except for right. All done at the same time. Fucking nope. I got a few more. Dude, how have you not quit your job? Could it have just been someone else that works there, or did it sound exactly like you? According to him, it sounded exactly like me. Plus, we were the only 2 produce guys that night, and no one ever comes to our department except the store manager, who just opens up the door without even asking. I did quit. I am now taking a college course and working at a bar. Another story. B night shift again. Me and F are in the back room, piling up stock, getting all the stuff we need to get and exit the back room. Put lock on the freezer door properly because the freezer recently leaked and it fucked over the produce section big time. Lots of lost hours. We are filling and shit and putting out produce, helping customers, when someone asks for a product that I go out back to check. As soon as I get to the locked freezer, I hear a huge crash inside the freezer room. The fuck? Call F over the store phone and tell him to come to the freezer now. We walk into the freezer and the back room is fucking trashed. We are both in shock. No one could have gotten in. One box looks like it had been fallen on by someone and broken off. So I don't know why that made me laugh. Few more. Fuck it. One last story before bed. Anyone capping this? It is now the next day after the destruction of the freezer. F and I are called in to clean the mess. We are both clear of any wrongdoing, as our supervisor watched the security footage and saw that neither of us were in the room, and it appeared that the boxes just randomly fell. Boss thinks it was a small, localized earthquake. My ass. F and I begin to go clean up the back room. During the time, we both hear a strange rustling in the vents, but both ignore it. As we are cleaning, I hear a faint whistling from the other side. Really, bud? Whistling on the job? What? I thought that was you, man. We both just stare at each other in silence for a second. We both hear the whistling again. Fucking nope. We clean up as quickly as we can. We get the fuck out of there and go straight home. I quit that job about a week later. After asking around, I came to find out that the dude that slipped and cracked his head really loved working produce, and to be fair, I did too. After he died, there was a long and drawn-out settlement for a wrongful death that left his widow with very little money. He was probably vengeful towards the store and its current staff, or his replacements. A co-worker told me he used to whistle while he worked. Bit of background. I live in a cul-de-sac. At the end of it is a small, 2-level complex that constantly has poor/fucked up families moving in and out. Not a bad neighborhood, but this complex always attracts dirty shitheads, and therefore the police. Be literally 3 weeks ago. I wake up in the middle of the night to what sounds like something large and made of plastic being dragged up my street. Check the time. It is 3 a.m. exactly. The fuck? Look outside to see a family from the complex pushing 2 strollers up the street with their kids. Shitty stroller made the sound. Seen this family during the day sometimes, going out for walks. Mom, dad, young daughter, 6 to 7 years old, and younger son, 3 to 4 years old. Weird, but don't think anything of it. Next night, same shit. 3 a.m. on the dot. They are going up the street again. Continues a 3rd night. Begin to feel suspicious. Next night is a Friday night. Happens again. Okay. Puts on imaginary deer stalker. I am going to follow these fuckers. Quickly get dressed and sneak out of my house. University student, living with parents. Decently lit neighborhood, so I stay a good 100 meters away. See family head into the fucking woods that is at the end of the street, across from the cul-de-sac. Fairly small wooded area, has a railway running through it, but just big enough, I figure, to do weird shit in and not be seen. Jog up to the entrance of the forest when I lose sight of them. Can't see shit, Captain. Fairly familiar with the trails, thankfully, having explored and walked through the woods quite often as a kid, either with my parents or my friends. Never came across any spooky shit. Lived in this neighborhood all of my life too. Poke around a few trails until I find a light source deeper at the end of a trail. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, sweating bullets. Family is performing some kind of fucking weird witch shit. Children are back to back, each holding candles. Mom is talking rapidly in I don't know what the fuck language, and I am familiar with French, Spanish, Polish, and it did not sound like any Asian language, at least nothing like Chinese, Japanese, or Korean. Okay, I think it's time to go home and forget I saw anything. As if this were some cheesy horror flick, step on a branch and instantly draw attention to myself. Didn't even fucking notice the dad is standing off to the side, like at a 45-degree angle from me, facing the scene ahead of me. He is maybe 10 meters away. Turns on and points flashlight at me. Thankfully, face is slightly obscured by branches. Freeze, and the two kids, mom and dad, are just fucking staring at me. Staring contest for a good 10 seconds. Mom begins to breathe extremely heavily, almost violently if that's possible. Picture Witch from Left 4 Dead when it begins to be startled. Well, looks like that is my cue. I sprint as fast as I can towards the direction of the street. Can hear the dad following behind me. Done track and field, specialized in hurdles. Jumping over everything like a crazy pansy. See salvation. I am shitting my pants going down the street. Look back and see the dad has stopped at the entrance of the woods. Called the police the next morning. A cop comes to my house to detail a report of what I saw. Basically laughs in my face. Does not take me seriously at all. Even makes a sarcastic joke about how they deal with street criminals, not vagabonds looking for shelter in the woods. Did not see the family until a week later, while walking to the bus stop heading to uni. The second they spotted me walking by, they just stop and stare. They fucking know. Nothing else to tell. No weird shit around my house. Stopped hearing them go out at 3 AM, but each time they fucking see me, to or from the bus stop, they just stand and stare until I am out of sight.